Welcome everybody to the Business Central launch event. My name is Lotte Kort Ihlemann, and today I'm joined by Yannick Bauser and Dimitri Chedaev. They're going to give you a highlight of what's new in the Business Central launch event 2024 release Wave 1. Thank you, partners, for joining us today. More than 4,000 partners are joining us in this event today. Also, thank you to the 43 Microsoft speakers who went into studio and recorded the 37 sessions that we are releasing today. You're joining us from more than 50 countries around the world. And last time, at the October release, you actually spent, on average, more than 3 hours watching the sessions that we released. We're certain with the content that we have today that you're also going to spend some really good hours watching the content, getting ready and trained in the latest release. Now, one thing we want to highlight is a new thing this time around. Last year, we launched a YouTube channel for Business Central, and many partners asked us over the last month whether we could also make sure to launch the Business Central launch event videos on the YouTube channel. So when you go out there today, there's going to be a playlist. It's going to be named 2024 Release Wave 1. And there you can see all the 30 plus sessions that we're releasing today. When you're out there, make sure to also check in on the short tips and tricks videos, on the technical deep dive videos we have there. And it's our intent to continue to release videos on this YouTube channel over the next coming month. Each week, I'm expecting that we will have more content out there. So please do bookmark aka.ms/BC YouTube and make sure to watch content out there. Now, a new thing on YouTube is a podcast series that we have called Under the Hood. It's Vincent Nicolas who's inviting Microsoft subject matter experts into the studio to talk about different topics related to the Business Central architecture, the design, and the development principles behind the product. We already have released 2 podcasts. Make sure over the coming weeks to check in and watch them. And there will be more to come soon. Again, same YouTube channel. So let's start zooming into what's new in the 2024 release Wave 1. You can see all the sessions that we're releasing here. And with that, I would like to welcome both Yannick and Dimitri.
Thank you, Lotte. Thank you for a great introduction there.
Thank you very much.
So I am Yannick Bauser. I'm a group product manager for the team that defines what goes into the application and the client experiences, including Copilot and so on, and also our integrations to other Dynamics 365 products.
Yes, and my name is Dimitri Chedaev. I'm a group product manager responsible for the online service, the server and partner tooling side of the Business Central experience. And what an agenda we have today.
Full agenda, yeah.
So many of you who have seen our previous issues of this live event, you can recognize our core investment areas on these slides. We are still investing heavily into core functionality in the application, into AI and collaboration experiences, making it easier for partners to set up, configure, and work with the product, and also maintaining the world-class service capable of scaling to customers of any size. And this release is not an exception. So you can see that we could barely fit all of the enhancements that the team built in the course of this wave into the product, into the service, into the user experiences and application on this slide. So a lot of fantastic work in the application, finance, reporting, supply chain. In the center of it, of course, is AI. There's a fantastic opportunity for you to see what's been built there. And user experiences and Power Platform enhancements and our investments into administration experiences and dev experiences will be covered as well here. So I'm super excited. I hope you are excited too. Yannick, please take it away.
Yes, because what we're going to do now, and even though Lotte talked about 3 hours and so on, that's of course not watching this show, that's watching all the videos that have been created. And you saw a brief overview of that before. So what we're going to do in this session is give you an overview of what you can expect in these videos. So when you see something saying, oh, that was only half of the story, that's because the other half is in the videos that are available out there. But let's actually start with what Dimitri just mentioned there, the AI investments we've done. And one of the things we've introduced in this release is Chat with Copilot inside Business Central. What we have enabled there is this nice capability of basically, in this case, we're seeing a small view of a user here saying, I want to show me the latest invoice. That's because we use prompt guides to get people started. What can I actually ask the system for? And now the user asks, so how do I actually add some lines to that last invoice? And you get some guidance there, and then they go back and they can then jump directly into, in this case, a document that was found by Copilot. There's a lot more that you could do with chat here inside Business Central. And that's, of course, why you would go and see the session around that. Now, we continued the story and looked at the business processes. And one of the areas where we see high usage is people keying in sales lines. And again, what you just saw here is a prompt guide coming up, helping the user to, for example, in this case, say, copy from the last invoice. But maybe I don't want that. I want to copy from a specific invoice number. So could even go and put that in. Now notice, we just wrote 4 digits. Copilot would find out that those 4 digits was in this invoice, and I could now insert it. But no, I actually want to do something different. I can go in a natural language, and then I can, in this prompt window here, I can basically write in what I want. I can then ask Copilot to generate. And as you can see here, products are suggested based on what I asked for. And now I can go insert those. We continue the story with adding Copilot also to the e-document. E-document was something we introduced in the previous release, that central place to control e-documents in Business Central. And what we're seeing here, and what will be explained, of course, not this fast in the videos they will watch, you will actually have somebody guide you through this, but what we're seeing is having Copilot taking the latest incoming documents, matching invoices to open orders, and then basically overnight or whatever you set up of recurrence, going in and finding out which order lines is matched to which purchase lines. We're talking about hours of time saved here. Let's say you had 100 lines on the sales order, and now you got 3 lines on an invoice. That takes time to actually do that today, not with Copilot. So again, a lot of productivity here. Productivity increasement. Now, the next thing you maybe want to do is actually analyze your data. And we did analysis mode some releases ago, but in this release, we added the capability of using natural language to basically describe what is it I want to analyze. So what we're seeing here in this small snippet of one of the sessions is basically user that went in, asked for showing what customers owe us, and then asked for adding a year in a pivot table. And that's what we are seeing now on the screen. And that was just with natural language without actually have to sit and drag and drop or necessarily understand all the fields here in Business Central. So Copilot assisted data analysis is now available as well. Another thing we've improved in this release, and that's more on the core functionality side. That's what we have, we have invested in the Shopify integration in previous releases, more the B2C. Very subtle. You can notice here that I'm not asked for a credit card. I can key in a purchase order number. And if you notice just on the previous screen, you would see that I actually can log into Shopify now. That's because we introduced an integration to Shopify B2B, basically managing companies, managing employees per companies. We're basically seeing here a short overview of some of the capabilities. I can go in and mark an order as paid, and I will then show up in my B2B view here in Shopify. And the good news is, if you already have a B2C store, you actually just go into Shopify and say, now I want to use B2B as well. And then you say, for example, control prices, another thing for B2B customers, and they will be reduced automatically. So another great business opportunity for those of you that want to go and address the e-commerce market. Now, additionally, in terms of when we talk about integrations, what we've done here, we of course looked at the great family of the Dynamics 365 products. And one area where we're seeing a lot of growth is actually businesses doing services out there. So we built an integration to Dynamics 365 Field Service. And what you're seeing in this small snippet of the video is somebody setting it up. Again, like with any integration we built, we made it really simple. You copy in the URL, you click next, you answer a few questions here in terms of how you want to handle the integration, and then you say finish, and then your integration is more or less set up. I mean, now you can decide to run a full synchronization and so on. In this session that has been recorded about field service integration, you will of course also see some of the field service experience, and they add some of the things where Business Central comes short in terms of visual scheduling and other things of your staff doing the service, and then that is sent back after the service is carried out, and then Business Central used for the invoicing piece. So a great new opportunity for those of you going after that service market out there. Then another thing we've added. Yes, we added many things. What you see here is the new sustainability chart of account, or chart of sustainability accounts. That's a difficult one, practice that. I should have done it. And what you're seeing on the screen here is, the familiar chart of account, but we built it the same way, actually enabling companies now to register Scope 1, Scope 2, and Scope 3 emission. I mean, both the direct ones, but also the indirect emissions. And, you will have to learn, terms like methane and, the shortcuts for that. All that you can set up, and the system can then be used to register it. And you can later, which you just saw in this small snippet here, you can then later use that to either, if you need to report it, because as we all know, in especially the European Union, over the next couple of years, depending on the size of the company, it's going to be mandated that you need to report your emissions. So we are ready for that, and we'll also make sure that you're ready for that. So this is the first start of it. Go have a look at that. Now, what I've done here for the last part of what I'm going to speak about, you will soon hear from Dimitri again, but I took some of the additional investment we've done, and not have a lot of videos here. That's where I will just give you a teaser in terms of highlight what have we done. We, in the core functionality area in terms of finance, our focus has been on multi-company actually for several releases. And recently it's been about the data and master data management and so on, improving consolidation, improving intercompany across environments and so on. Now that's all great, but that of course meant also that you had additional feedback and needs for managing some of that. One of them being, for example, that in your chart of account or your accounts, you want to see the actual value of what the impact of currencies have if there is fluctuation in the market. So you can now run a general ledger revaluation on the currencies that maybe have changed the rate. That's possible now in Business Central. Posting to employee ledger with currencies. I want to, the most important thing about that, which I want to call out, is that I want to say thank you, because that's one of you, hopefully listening there, out there, that has contributed to Business Central. Remember, we have an open source project where basically people can contribute to the base app of Business Central. And we have our product managers then reviewing, discussing these additions. And there are some of you that had the need, it was an idea for many years, to have currency postings in the employee ledger. You have now added that. Thank you for doing that as well. Current consolidation improvements, go see what we've done there. It's primarily about currencies. We now have business unit currencies. Reminders automation is available. And another thing I'm really proud of is that we continue to deliver on the reporting and analytics story. And just wait till you see the new great Excel layout reports that we've added to the products. For those of you viewing from the US, early up, good morning, by the way. You will also have the automated 1099 reporting for you, basically meaning that the IRS now supports that you could submit that directly to IRS. So that's also something you will see in this release. So go see that session if you're interested in that. Now, that was finance. As we did the field service integration, we actually looked at service and jobs as well. And in a few minutes, you will learn we never have to say jobs again, but that's to wait for the next slide. But here is a short list of all the improvements we've done to the service area. It's all the minor things we actually did on the sales and purchase side, but we forgot or waited until we were ready to look at service again. So we've now instrumented like document attachment. You can select multiple items, set up the invoice posting policies, even delete the service invoices. That was not a possibility before. So that's all now in the box as well. So go enjoy that session. Project management. I don't know if this is the biggest announcement or whatever news in this. Of course not. Copilot is like, the thing. But I just have to call out that it took us about 20 years to finally call jobs projects, because it's been projects for a long time. And now, it was always like in our capability guides and so on, we called it projects because that's what customer understand. But in the product, we called it jobs. It's projects now. So you will see that throughout. And then as well, a lot of great improvements there. You can see it on the slide. Go see that session of what's new in project management improvement to actually have that more detail. Timesheets was something we got a constant feedback on, and it was difficult, fill it out. We didn't have worksheet on mobile and so on. All that's fixed in this release as well. A much better experience, a much faster way to key in your time and get an overview also of the result and later edit that. So great news for those selling to businesses needs to record hours. And I just said we enabled the worksheet pages for the mobile, but we also made sure that we now have enabled so that you can control barcode scanning for all kinds of scenarios. So you can get the barcode scanning icon up on your mobile phone. So we support that on mobile phones as well, and you can control it from within in your code. And I'm almost there. I think it's second last slide there in terms of fantastic things. Another thing we have invested in is, of course, our Power integration, Power Automate, Power Apps, even Power BI. And the improvement here is really around the templates, also making sure that, for example, approval users is now actually available from BC inside Power Automate, Power Apps. So it wasn't before. That just makes it much easier to set up approval. In this release, it's actually not there, but of course we mention it in the session. You'll get more information. But in this release, a little bit later on, we will release the new templates that also have the capability of using all the GPT that is available within Power Automate. So go see that for approvals, for automation of different kind of reading data, whether it's from emails and other things. That will be available in these templates, as well as rich Power Apps are now available, but also templates for Power Pages. I also have to call that out, which is now in preview. So a lot of things to get you started for both with the apps and also Power Pages. Now, I think this is a final thing, and that's about errors. I don't know if that's a high to end on, but what we've done here is actually, you'll see this in this video. For example, if you say quantity to ship and you can only ship up to 8 units, you can actually now in the error message click directly and say set it to 8, rather than have to go back and resolve. So productivity when getting an error and getting unblocked is just increased dramatically. Who doesn't know this? Trying to select an item and the posting group is missing. Of course, rather than exiting, going, finding the item card, you can show it directly from where you got the error. Go and change it, and then you can continue your work. Isn't that just a beauty? And finally, what if you need more help when you get an error? We have now enabled it so that you can, when you say show details on error, you can share the details with Teams, with email, and very easily send it, for example, to the admin, get unblocked, and continue your work. This wasn't everything, and I know I didn't cover everything, and even some of our great PMs, engineers sitting in where it's not. There is so much great stuff in this release that you need to go and see the BCL videos to get a little more detail there. But there's of course more, and that's where Dimitri will help us take us through that. Dimitri, welcome back on stage.
Thank you, Yannick. What a great set of features, fantastic capabilities, and I enjoyed the Aero experience quite a lot, so this really stands out. But I'm here to talk about the improvements in the world-class service. This is an overarching concept in our terminology. How do we improve our online service, our admin capabilities, and our development tools for you, for partners, to make it easier to manage all of the customers that you have? And of course, the pivotal point of this, the center of this story, cannot not be AI, and it is AI. You've just seen Yannick introduced many interesting scenarios which Business Central team built into the core product. And of course, AI is top of your mind for many of you. So you're asking yourselves, how can you infuse AI into your solutions? We've had many fantastic discussions with many of you about the ways of doing it. And to enable you to do so, we introduced the Business Central development tools for Copilot, or sometimes for short, we call it BC AI Toolkit. And this toolkit comes with several parts of the experience which you, as an ISV builder or as an extension builder, can use to quickly build AI experiences into your processes or to enhance BC processes with AI. So you can see that it comes with the Copilot UI, AI module to interact with OpenAI API, and some guides and samples and common functions. A lot of improvements there. In this specific release, we paid special attention to the prompt dialogue. We know that the prompt dialogue is a central feature of the Copilot experience. That's where users come in and express their wish. And we needed to help them express this wish. The users may get confused about what can they ask from the system. And if they know what can they ask from the system, how do they ask the system for the proper action to be performed by AI? And you can see in the prompt dialogue, we've added new concepts which can help users do these tasks. For example, Copilot actions, which will make it visible for the users which actions in Business Central UI are enabled with AI or with help of AI. Prompt guides, which will provide some sample prompts to the user to try out and explore the capabilities of the system. Instructional text, which will help the user formulate their ask, just hint them towards the right direction. The team has also provided a lot of guidance and sample applications. The applications are, by the way, amazing. So you can find them on this resource, aka.ms, BC Start Coding with AI. This is our GitHub project, where you can find sample applications using BC AI Toolkit to build AI experiences. And there's a lot of more guidance in this session about how to keep your code current with the latest models released for AI, how to extract key information from natural language input, and all other nuggets. So please take a look at these URLs, take a look at the session, and learn much more about how you can build AI experiences into your IP. But one thing which I wanted to also reveal here is a thing which we're working on to allow third-party applications to have much more simple experience embedding AI into their solutions. And I'm here to introduce the private preview. We're going to provide a lot more guidance and knowledge about this private preview program further a little bit later in the course of this release. But the private preview of Microsoft managed AI resources. So all of you building solutions which use AI today, you can create your solutions using your own subscriptions and your own AI resources. But we are going to launch a preview of the experience where all of this management will be done by Microsoft team. So everything you need to do is design the business functionality, and we will make sure that you have ample AI resources, that you have enough kind of capabilities in the system to execute AI scenarios, even for your largest customers. So there's a lot to look forward to. Please stay tuned for further announcements. One interesting thing which I wanted to say is that many of you asking questions, what can we do with AI? And we have a few ideas, and we thought, hey, maybe we ask partners what ideas they have. And we organized a hackathon with 300 participants, and boy, they came up with many ideas. So here you see some of the examples listed on the screen. Take a note of this. Great ideas for what to do with AI in today's business application. And in the end of the 3 days, these partners built 50+ solutions with AI. Of course, it was hackathon, it was exploration, but it's incredible how many ideas came to the surface with this toolkit, supported by BC Toolkit. Now, here's the next topic which I wanted to cover. Now, if some of you very attentive viewers, if you take a look at this picture, you might notice a very specific place which is still blank in our application architecture, layered architecture. You all are familiar with system application, with the base application, our localizations, and customer and partner IP, but something is obviously missing on this picture. In this release, the team introduced a new layer in Business Central application, the layer called Business Foundation. This is the layer that we're going to use to introduce horizontal ERP-related functionality, which can be used by any of the application domains. If you want a good example, we actually built the first good example into this layer, and it's a number series management. It can be used by all areas of Business Central app. So it is built in an extensible way. It is built with 0 warnings and obviously 0 errors. It's built in a way which is modularized and easy to extend and easy to contribute via GitHub. So this is the vision of Business Foundation layer. And of course, we'll continue on this journey, keep adding other areas such as currency management, location management, accounting period management, and other horizontal features to this Business Foundation layer. One story which we cannot omit in this presentation is, as Yannick mentioned, there's a lot of great collaboration on GitHub. And I still get chills remembering when we launched BC Apps project in Lyon at Directions EMEA conference in November 2023, on stage live in front of the big audience. And since then, we got a lot of great contributions to that repository and many other projects, open source projects we're running with you, with our community today. Just look at these numbers. There's so many contributions from you with fantastic capabilities and features and fixes, big and small, all entering into BC and being shipped with BC. So now all of you and all of your customers can enjoy these capabilities. Really heartfelt thank you for all of you participating in this project and contributing to the greatness of BC functionality. This is immensely helpful and hopefully also rewarding for you and your customers project. Now switching to developers. Of course, developers is the driving force of Business Central. Now we've been just talking about refactoring of Business Central, introduction of the new Business Foundation layer. As you can imagine, as you refactor an application as big as Business Central, you need some language and metadata capabilities to do it in a flexible and non-breaking way. So we did introduce some capabilities in our system, which you see on the screen, which allows us to refactor the application in a non-breaking way. Now, some of these capabilities are only used for the Business Central first-party applications because we needed them to refactor our own logic, but we will definitely look into how and when and where we're going to surface the same capabilities for all of you, refactoring and enhancing and modernizing your applications in the future. You're going to get much more productive with AL language itself. There's many constructs and many AL language abilities we introduced in this release as well. You have seen some of the prompt dialogue enhancements. They are the part of the AL language, of course. Reusing tooltips across pages, a great saving for all of you designing tooltips. And you absolutely have to pay a lot of attention to tooltips because guess what will learn a lot from the tooltips? AI. So this is a very, very pivotal area for us and for you to pay attention to. And that's the area which we enhanced in the language as well. So now your pages can inherit tooltips from the tables they're running on. Really, really great capability. I'm sure many of you building integrations will also appreciate the feature of using cookies in HTTP requests. So now you can have your integrations built in a much richer way and interacting with your endpoints with some history and some meaningful conversations, so to say. And of course, we haven't forgotten about the tools. Like, the tools are helping you in your day-to-day life. The tools are helping you to run DevOps as one of the example. So in ALGO for GitHub project and the tooling that we built for the DevOps purposes, we introduced several new capabilities which can help you test your app in combination of many other ISV apps. Now, there's no other, there's almost no customer environment which is running without apps today. So it is critical capability for you to test it in combination with everything else that you rely on. There was also a very significant change in this toolkit to introduce support for PowerShell 7 and .NET 8, which our server is now running on. If you are on BC Container Helper, if you are on ALGO, this change will be seamless for you. If you run in some other systems, custom built systems, that may not be as smooth experience as if you were using these capabilities. So please pay attention to this announcement. So you may want to, if you're not using these mentioned features, you may want to become aware of these changes early and introduce them into your pipelines. And of course, we now made it possible to debug the system application, which is quite useful for all of you contributing to system app in our open source projects. For the app source, I also wanted to announce a few changes. For all of you building apps on app source, we introduced capability to preview your apps with your customers. So now you can have a set of curated set of customers for whom you can install your preview version of the app. They can evaluate it, they can try it out, they can test it and give you the feedback. And then you can launch your app much safer and with much more confidence. So great experience. Please try it out, see the video, see how it works. We continue our work in the app source monetization space. So the next frontier is to enable transactability through CSP channel. It is already possible today to transact directly with the customers, but many of you asked that we need an option to transact through CXP. And we are working on this. We're getting a great feedback from the pilot partners using this channel. And the work continues, so I'm super excited about where it's going to take us and how it's going to support these 5,000 apps for 1,000 publishers going forward. And finally, on this space, we introduced a new experience for viewing and installing app source apps within the product. So this is a native Business Central experience. We used to have an embedded app source page. Now we have a native experience. And you may have seen from Yannick what Business Central pages are capable of. You can do all sorts of filtering and pivoting and sorting on our very, very flexible and very robust Business Central pages. Now, the entire collection of your app source apps and the apps which are getting installed will benefit from these capabilities. Like, you will be much easier, you will be able to much easier get an overview of your apps, find the right apps, sort, finish, filter them by publisher, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Much more robust and diverse capabilities. So something definitely to look forward to. Boy, oh boy, this is probably the best time to be a developer for Business Central. And we all want much more and many more of you to join this community of developers. And just look at this list. The amount of content that we pushed into development documentation and learning content is really, really, really significant. So please take a look at this URL and pass it on to your favorite developer or developer who is getting started to make sure that they become much more efficient in doing all of these tasks. Just look at the list of these titles: how to do reporting in the best way, in the efficient way, how to handle errors, how to do async processing, you know, ranging from simpler topics to much more complex topics in all of these documentation articles. So it will make it much more easier for the new developers to start, and for the professional developers, get even better at their craft. Now, the list of the server and database improvements keeps amazing me personally, and I'm sure many of you release after the release after the release. We want to make sure that our service can scale to the requirements of larger and more complex customers. So we're looking for the ways to improve performance on many different levels. You see many capabilities on this list which improve different parts of the experiences, ranging from faster web services or data calls to performance improvements in specific data types. So these are the very technical changes in our runtime and our server and the way we interact with the database. But all of these things combined, they give much better performance experience to the users. And by the way, Yannick just mentioned that we ship a lot of great reports, Excel reports to Business Central. And guess what? There is a capability to translate reports into your favorite language so that your customers, when they look at the Business Central data, they can understand it slightly better, or maybe a lot better. One thing which I also wanted to share with you is a very interesting observation we got from our synthetic test. At the end of release 24, wave 1, we did a synthetic test trying to load our system almost beyond its technical capabilities. So we wanted to see what is it that the Business Central can handle under the load. And in this wave, I wanted to share with you that what we noticed is that Business Central in version 24 or 2024 wave 1 shows much lower server latency under higher load. And of course, lower latency makes good and great impact on performance. So your performance will have a much more consistent experience based on these changes, architectural changes, which we introduced in our online service. So this service handles the load much smoother with fewer interruptions and fewer delays. So you can expect much more consistent performance experience for your customers and your workloads. If you remember, we also announced the feature which allows you to scale your workloads if you need more throughput. Specifically, that goes for the web services, for the scheduled tasks. You were in the past limited to specific limits which were based on environment. This limitation was completely inefficient, and the larger customers could not handle, were not happy about this limit, that we could do so few tasks per environment for all of the users. So we redesigned and re-architected several components in our service to allow you to scale throughput in terms of how many scheduled tasks you want to process or how many web service requests you want to push through the system now on per user level. So now the more users you add to this process, the more tasks and the more web service requests the system can process in the context of these users. Definitely something to notice and to take advantage of. Now, going into the almost final area of this slide is saving time for partners. All of you onboarding customers, all of you supporting customers, you have to deal with many scenarios in these areas. And just take a look at this list. I don't even have time for another hour or two to go deep into any of these experiences. But just look at the breadth of these scenarios. The admin center is capable of doing so many administration capabilities. And with this release, we added that many more to this experience. For instance, transferring environments between Microsoft Entra organization is a huge success, huge hit. In the past, it was a very tedious experience where you needed to involve support and you would be in an unknown until you have this conversation complete. Now it's a full self-service experience. Now you can create an environment, and if you need to move it to another customer or to another AAD tenant or Entra tenant, you can do it on your own. And many more other enhancements in the administration area, including introduction of our very own Business Central administrator role. So many of you asked for this in the past. You wanted to make sure that you can distinguish between all other administrators and Business Central administrators. This is now possible in the administration experience. I also wanted to mention some of the governance enhancements. For instance, features such as Lockbox and custom managed encryption keys and auditing key scenarios with Microsoft 365 Purview. These capabilities will help you manage your data much more safely and securely, so you can add additional degree of privacy, additional degree of confidence to the most sensitive data in your environment. So that is super, super helpful improvements. Watch for further announcements on these topics. And I just wanted to drop here a small, but not so small bonus capability, which we introduced in this version. So users with premium licenses can access environments used by the users with essential license. It may sound a bit cryptic, but I know many of you listening to this session will now jump in the excitement and say, yes, finally, I can now scale my operations, I create environments, and I can work with these environments in the most efficient way without any workarounds, without any creative solutions. So there's going to be, again, a lot more content and material helping you to understand how to configure this, but this capability is now there. And I almost saved one of the best capabilities of the release among many other candidates to the end. Please say hello to the tool called page scripting. If you have to deal with changes every day, and I know you have to, Business Central is coming up with the new changes, ISV Solutions coming up with the new changes, the testing task is super tedious, but no longer this is the case. So we bring in testing from dread to delight with this feature. Using the page scripting tool, you can record your flow in a visual way in your web client, and you can replay it again and again and again when the changes are introduced in the system. So this is definitely something to look forward to. This capability is shipped in preview with version 2024 release wave 1, and it will definitely help you get much higher confidence in uptaking new versions of Business Central, get better quality, and ensure lower costs when you do the testing. So definitely one of the highlights of the release. Now, I wanted to conclude this to the final of the presentation.
We made it, you know.
Yes.
Just almost on time here. That's really good. Actually, before time, you know. So that's great. Yeah. So next thing up is, of course, the, you know, Q&A sessions, the live ones. And I guess, you know, everybody had that, maybe some out there have questions. And the good news is, here we got the honor, the three of us, to talk about this. But of course, there's a huge team, not behind us, but, you know, upstairs actually watching this right now as well, and developing, you know, orchestrating all this. They will be live, and you could go in on the BCLE side. We'll show that on the next slide, you know, the shortcut. You're already here, so you know it. But that's where you find the different session and the timing for those. Remember to add to calendar so you don't forget. And that's where you now, all the questions you have on your list, go there and have the interaction with the teams.
Definitely.
And maybe just we can just add that for each of the Q&As, we have 2 time options. So hopefully it will fit wherever you are in the world. So there is a morning and an evening session, and you can choose what works best for you.
You can also take both. I mean, if you want, you know, so that's also an option.
All right.
Yes.
Here's the overview of all the sessions. Fantastic sessions. We just gave you an overview of some of the features and capabilities. These are much deeper dives into each and every one of them, split by the category for easier browsing and exploration. So dive in. You can find them all on the very site that you are on right now, watching this webcast. So we really hope you will enjoy it.
And a final note here is that on the event portal, they will be available until the end of June, but you can also go to the YouTube channel and watch them from now on and onwards.
Yes. So happy watching. Thank you very much.
And thank you, huge thank you to the BC team, which I know is watching, we know and watching this live as well with all of you, dear partners and customers. So thank you so much to all of you for the hard work. And now we'll get to see hopefully the exciting results of it and communication and next steps. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.